money there. I don't know, none of that. Otherwise, I mean, I think the big telling thing is really like the shot. They're dead set on where the shot was fired, and if you're dead set on where the shot was fired, the skull explosion is not going to react in the way that it did.
Right.
I mean, other than that, I don't know. Like, the whole bandage, the whole, movement of communism, the whole, get rid of, audit the Federal Reserve. I mean, there's so many facets that play into that, whatever it is that, like, I don't know, man. I think the hard thing is like, I don't understand, like, why he himself, who did not come off as an extreme radical, would be like, yeah, I think I'm just going to pop the president. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it would make sense if you had, like, an extreme radical, right? Like, and again,
he's
not pigeonholing. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying he's the perfect patsy because because Oswald was a Marine. And that's what they teach us to do. They teach us to take shots like that. It's well known. Yeah. So he's the perfect patsy for it.
Yeah, and like it's like that's the thing is it's like cool. Let's get this guy to do it because he can. I mean, I don't know, if he went to sniper school or whatever, but it's just I don't know. There's just some weirdness there to say the least. I mean, and it's unfortunate because I think sooner or later that'll come out.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's going to be later rather than sooner.
Right. I think it after maybe after a generation dies or something like that really cared about it, I look at the whole Oswald thing like, what type of mentality do these people have to pick out some random person and ruin his fucking life? And then, well, other than ruin his life, you just kill him off so he can't say anything, so you can't ruin his life, so there's really no guilt. So.
Right, and that's the other thing that I'm just like, so that's what happened. So you kill the guy, you don't really have any basis for it, and then on the flip side of that, you have somebody who's so impassioned, and not to say that this wouldn't happen, mind you, but you have somebody who's so impassioned that he runs up and puts 2 or 3 in a dude who's in cuffs who isn't going anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. If it was one of his brothers, if it was his kid, and I'm just throwing this out there. Obviously, his kid's very young, but you know what I mean. If it was his kid, if it was his cousin, if it was his mom or his dad, if it was his wife, definitely his wife, something like that. Like somebody who is so in love with the president that they would go to that extreme. Okay, makes sense. But it's like it was somebody who, was just almost like a security agent at that point. So you were so incensed with a guy who's already handcuffed, who's already in, is in a position, and then now all of a sudden this guy's just going to shoot through and pop him like a piece of cake. Like, there's just stuff. And I'm not, dude, straight up the story, I mean, maybe everything's legit. Like, I don't know, you don't know, nobody knows 100%, really, right. Maybe outside of this CPA. But, you and I are just talking. So it very much could have been very real. Everything that they've said is 100% correct. But to assume or just say, okay, yes, would be sort of asinine in the sense of all the different things that happened in that story to not ask a question at least.
Right. I agree with you. I totally agree with you, man. Let's move on to part 3, which I call the party. You don't smoke weed, do you?
I do not. I am so, and again, I guess I'll go through it. So we've already got a decently long podcast, so we'll add it a little bit. High school, totally anti-weed. Pretty much all my really good friends, except for one, were potheads. So there's a bit of irony there. Completely anti-weed, and what it was, I mean, I literally remember them talking to me and each other about, like, a sport. And that's a legit conversation, like, dude, this sport, bro, like, that's awesome. And the thing that killed me, and I think this is why I was for such a long period of time, is those guys were all extremely intelligent, way smarter than me by far. Like, honors classes. One of the guys like white pasty fucker, but he was just that smart. Like, he just picked it up. I mean, that has nothing to do with it, but you know what I mean? Like, just crazy smart guys. And it just, to me, it was like, you guys are just literally killing brain cells, and you guys are going to be worthless, and you're basically going to take all this intelligence, all this, what do I want to say, like, ability, and you're just going to piss it away, right? So, like, huge anti-weed guy. Then, 16, got a stoner girlfriend. She was really pretty, so you're going to do what any high school guy does who wants to sleep with his, hot stoner girlfriend. You're going to try what her interests were. So then I tried smoking weed on numerous occasions. Every single time got sick to my stomach.
What?
So, yeah, no, seriously. Every single time I got sick to my stomach, so apparently I had some sort of reaction. And so that put me off to it even more, right? So get out of high school, years and years and years, and just don't like weed, don't like weed, don't like weed. And then Josh, who is a weed smoker, obviously becomes one of my very best friends in the world. And, having conversations and then realizing what the criminalization of it is on, people that are serving sentences that are younger than people who have, tried to kill people, who have literally raped people, and you have people in there who sold a pound of weed and they're getting longer sentences. And then even further than that, studying on medicinal use and how it helps a lot of young kids, the oils and stuff, who have seizures and epilepsy, and how it helps people, with cancer, if nothing else, even if it's not killing cancer cells, their ability to smoke it and be able to not be in a horribly paranoid and anxious state while they're going through something that's more than likely in 70% of the time is going to kill them. Like, at some point it turned itself on its head to me, where I was like, I'm not going to do it. I don't want people of a younger age doing it until they can mature enough where they're not killing their brain cells, just the same way I'd prefer they didn't drink so they're not killing their brain cells at a younger age. But it got to the point where there was just so much idiocy behind it, and there was so many things that it could be used for that truly could help people, that I did a huge 180. I still will never smoke it. It makes me sick. And like I said, I would prefer, kids, maybe wait until they were 25 and then go nuts. Once your brain's like fully, developed, then go to town, man. You know what I mean? But I flipped 180 since I was younger.
Bro, you should try edibles. At least once.
I'm good, man.
I'm telling you, it'll change your whole perception of things. I promise you.
Yeah, I'll keep to my drink, but anybody who is not getting bombed out of their mind and then freaking trying to drive a car at me or something, you know what I mean? But that goes for alcohol or freaking antidepressants or fucking opiates for all it is. Just figure out your moderation. Try to do it around, places where you can't injure somebody, and go to town.
Wow, I like your outlook on that. Okay. Very neutral. All right. Out of a roster of 15, how many smoke weed?
15. I'm going to do Southwest because that's the region that I know the best.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So it's kind of gone back and forth on different things. Obviously, 60s, 70s, 80s, you're doing probably 50. The other, part of that 50 is doing coke, and the other 50 is, drinking, percentage-wise.
Okay.
And then I think it went way up. I think to me it would be like late 90s, 2000s. From there, I think there were a lot more, because it was like, okay, now this is sort of like the party drug to some degree, you know what I mean? Right. Now it's kind of weird, man. Like, I definitely have your 15 people. I would say not quite half. But it's odd because a lot of guys are obviously hardcore into straight nutrition. You know what I mean? So now they don't do anything. They don't drink. They don't smoke weed. They don't smoke cigarettes. None of that stuff. Stuff that would have been very prevalent. And so I'm thinking like you're probably looking at about half of the 15. Let's call it low end. 8 don't, 7 do. But not everybody has it. Let's be honest, because a lot of them are wrestlers and cheapskates.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's horrible. All right, man. Do you see weed being legalized anytime soon?
Yes. I think there's too much money to be made. I think it's becoming so acceptable that it will. I think it's going to be one of those things where the government's going to be able to make enough money. Now, I think there will be major restrictions. It's hard to say on the federal side, but again, the one thing, and this is just my personal opinion, the one thing that I think is keeping it is I think there's enough major benefits from it that it is a direct competition to the major drug companies, and the major drug companies have a shit ton of money to dump in. Be like, I like my synthetic shit a lot better than you being able to.
You're fading out on me, brother.
Oh, sorry about that. To be able to cure or help pain or any of that stuff. And so I think the major pharmaceutical companies are what are going to keep it at the wait time.
Right. Hello?
You got me?
Yeah, I do now. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let's get into miscellaneous stuff here. Did you ever consider joining the military?
No, sir. Never a military guy.
Okay.
My stance was always, and this has always been my stance, I respect anybody who has. Doesn't mean there's not a ton of assholes out there that are military people, because there are. There's, just like anywhere, there's a ton of pricks. But I still respect you for it. I respect you even more so because you're willing to go and fight for my freedom, my protection, and I don't have to, so I respect you even more so for that.
That's fucking awesome. Right on. What's your favorite food?
Pass, brother. I have no idea. I'm fat, so food.
All right. Gelato, ice cream, or frozen yogurt?
Ice cream. Definitely ice cream. The other two are not bad, but I don't know. There's just something about, like, legit ice cream that I love. Like, especially if you can kick some of the sugar out of it. Like almost the homemade. Not like you do at your house homemade, but like that nitrous where they just freeze it right on the spot. Oh, that shit's money.
Nice. Do you subscribe to the theory that we are living in a simulation?
I wouldn't want to say no, but dude, that's so outside my realm of, that's the kind of thing that if I, like at night, look up into the sky and just stare at the stars for like 15 minutes, I feel so small. Like that it literally just knocks the wind out of me, like not even kidding, like I almost have like a panic attack.
Wow. And
that would be just something that would run, like the simulation concept would just run through my head if I even thought about that too long. So I'm just going to go with no, just to keep myself.
All right. Keep you from having a panic attack, bro. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Let's stay away from that one.
All right. Where can we find any of your old matches and any of your old merch?
So really, most of the stuff isn't really out there, dude. Just heel style, never really like pumped a lot of that. I think there is on the horizon, and again, there's a lot of chit chat, but there is on the horizon a possibility for the rebranded Destiny era, that that 5-year stretch to start putting out a lot of stuff going forward online. I think we just have to find the right medium. So once